You sleep when you get back home, and I don't mean your camp, I mean back home. Let's go dig now. Cody is literally hanging onto the snake like he's riding it. Dead still, becoming a theme in this challenge. They get some momentum, then they stop, talk, rest. No, give him that, not you. Go. Hey.
Hello and good evening on this Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. We just finished watching the second episode of Survivor 43, Lovable Curmudgeon. I'm Dave Mader, joined with Jaemeel Robinson here on Super Mader Brothers podcasting, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. Or you might be listening to us on the audio version after a 90-minute episode. We're here to break it all down. Jaemeel, how are you tonight?
I'm doing okay. Catching up on Survivor. I know I missed last week's opening extravaganza, and now it's time to, to talk about what happened last week.
Jaemeel, are we in the pineapple zone together? Are we agreeing to that up front?
Yes, definitely.
That's where we're gonna speak the truth to one another here. No lies.
Yep. Pineapple Zone is the new Coconut Bandits.
The new Coconut Bandits. What did you think of this episode tonight? And the ultimate result here, as we see, I'm sorry, who got voted out tonight? Justine. I kept forgetting her name. Sorry, this was not. I did watch the episode, but I was just like, who?
You can't trust salespeople, Dave. You cannot.
No. How are you? Okay, Jaemeel, we haven't really talked about this season at all because you and I did not talk about episode 1, really.
Mm-hmm.
That was Jeff and I. You were off to see Clerks 3. And so, we didn't talk about the premiere, but so we're kind of catching up here after 2 episodes, really.
Yes. A similar situation how I felt last week, this week occurred. And that is this simple fact. We keep on hearing about tribal strength and the tribe needs to remain strong, but the people who are touting it, especially these last 2 weeks, are people who are, I think, frankly, sub 100-pound women, right? Who, to me, it's kind of absurd, right? You can say, hey, we need to keep the tribe very, agile or very, let's say, quick. Right, but strength, I'm pretty sure the 2 people who said that against the 2 people that they wanted to get out are much the person that they want out is stronger than them, right? And if Justine and NECA had an arm wrestling match or a wrestling match, I'm pretty sure Justine would be calling uncle.
And what about just the vote out of Mariah in episode 1? What was your sort of reaction to that on the Baka tribe?
Same thing. Not saying that it was a bad decision necessarily, right? But to wrap it under the guise of tribal strength seems a little disingenuous in that case, right?
Right.
And then what we saw at the beginning of this episode with Gabe-Reno basically just completely falling apart. It looks really bad. And I think Gabe in general is not long for this game.
Gabler?
Yeah, the Gable. Gabe.
You call it, Gabe. Yeah, Gabe. Okay, what was your reaction to just the whole the storm of things to start the episode off? We see they get hit pretty hard. It seems like the Gabler tribe, which I guess would be the Baka tribe. They seem the hardest hit by this storm.
Yeah, but once again, I think Survivor watchers have been a little bit too, there hasn't been a big storm. A big storm is coming. I would always assume that I'm going to get hit with a big storm. Yes, check the chat.
Forget about the storms, Jaemeel. We got chat notice. And
Sam wants to talk about he found his Alyssa for this season. Right? And who's this person? Jesse.
Yeah, don't worry about Jesse. I was We'll see.
We'll
See
get
how
to that. We'll get to that in due time.
yeah.
But we're talking about Gabe, Dave in the Pineapple Zone. We're talking about Gabe and the storm. These storms, like, it happens, so you have to prepare for it. And I don't think it didn't really destroy the tribe, like it didn't destroy their beach like we've seen before. So I just assumed they weren't expecting it. Now Gabe, right? Gabe not being able to handle it. I think that plus what happened last week.
Did he really? Was he like? I couldn't really tell if anybody really couldn't handle it. Like it just seemed like Gabler seemed like the next day he needed more rest or sleep, but he was rough going into it. But like any more than anybody else, like
this is the technically what, the 4th day of Survivor?
Day 4, it's day 4.
For day 4, and you're already like wiped. That's not
you might have a bad reaction out there living there in the jungle, I guess.
Well, I see everyone has a bad reaction. What's her name? Not Justine. I forget. I picked her in one of my.
Well, I think Ellie's a better Survivor player than Alyssa's a Big Brother player, so that's a good thing, Sam.
Things are on the up.
That's a Pineapple Zone take.
It's a Pineapple Zone take. Is that what we're gonna call this season? Like our chats, the Pineapple Zone?
I think where you have to, it's like something it has to be special, or it has no meaning. So I think it's like we're in the Pineapple Zone where we're giving it straight, which is the truth. Yeah. All pineapple all the time.
I'm just saying, from a strategic standpoint, Gabe said that he was going to do something last week. He didn't have to, right? He said he wasn't going to play his idol. He didn't play his idol. That's cool. He said he was also going to play Sean the Dark, and he didn't.
Right? Yeah, he's a bit of a wild card, though.
So if you tell people that you're going to do something to gain trust, i.e. not play your idol, right? And then you turn around and you add something to it, like you're going to play your Shot in the Dark, and you don't do it, then can you really trust that person? Is the trust that they're trying to build really being built? And to me, I would still not trust him at all. That doesn't count. He didn't add to the pile, to the trust pile, right?
He's not in the Pineapple Zone. Trust cluster?
He's not in the trust cluster at all, right? He would not be included in my my voting block.
Just earlier, also in the episode, we get a lot of the antics of Cody, who continues to be sort of a major feature of this season and this cast. What's your reaction to Cody? Him not just wanting to climb these dangerous looking rocks, and he's a free spirit, but he kind of reminds me of our mutual friend Mott. But the Hawaiian version of Mott, the surfer version of Mott, not a Philly version.
Well, he's setting himself up for another season of Survivor after this one, for sure. He's an interesting character. It really stands out. At the same time, I think that he's a dangerous person to get to the end, because you're looking for reasons as to why someone is going to be put over the top, why you're going to vote for this person, why you're going to give them the money, why are they going to be the representative this season. And to see such a free spirit who's like, I see that huge rock, I'm going to jump it, right? And
I got a funny hat.
that really, people get like, oh, he pisses me off, but he's kind of awesome, right? Even when you hate him, you still kind of like him. You like that type of that attitude, that the thing. The hat is awesome, right? wear that those beads very proudly, and we'll get more into that as the episode.
That was before the beads. Like that was before he had to get beads on his hat. He was just making a hat for himself. It happened to work out in this episode.
It's That's the box title right there for this season.
He's almost got like a Jesus look to him here. It's like, well, the Pineapple Zone version perhaps. Yeah, a lot of feature of the Vesti tribe. I felt like in this episode, maybe even more than the other tribes, although because they ultimately got the tribal council on the Coco tribe. We got a lot of it was a lot about what's his name? I'm sorry, Geo on the
Learning
Coco
more
tribe.
and more about the different characters, right?
We're getting more and more of their stories, and it's like what I was like, Jaemeel, I don't know if he's gonna really enjoy this, but I because you're like, I don't care about your sob story, just play Survivor, play Big Brother, etc.
They at least had them do stuff at the same time. So it was like in the middle of like, okay, they're grabbing stuff. I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting at the same time, right?
Right.
But like if it's like, oh, they're chilling on the beach and they go into this massive monologue and then they get the flashbacks, it's like, oh my gosh, couldn't we just look at some gameplay at the same time?
Right. Well, I feel like this episode was extra long. It was like a supersized episode, 90 minutes, where you got all of this strategy and you got like these features, which in the like previous seasons, what you would see is like somebody who gets to like the final 3 or something like that would get this way more like in-depth look at their life, why they may need the money, especially in the finale. You would see that kind of featured heavily. Now they're doing it in the early episodes as a different take on it, how they want to feature their cast. Wanting the audience to embrace this cast early, and like and root for them, right? Like in a more human way, versus especially.
Can we get a feature with like it isn't really a feature? It's just a person saying, "Look, I just want to win. I don't care. I got nothing happened. No one touched me. I'm not like I don't have a non-traditional whatever lifestyle. Nothing happened with my parents. None of my friends passed away. No one got sick. I just want to win. Okay, that's it. And I'll beg, borrow, and steal to get that victory. I would just kind of appreciate that. That's not to say that I'm discrediting or downplaying other people's journeys. For a lot of them, I just don't care.
But they were trying to like interweave like the strategy here, because as they're talking about Geo's story, they're also kind of saying like him and Ryan are teaming up now, right?
Yeah.
I'm still learning their names. Sorry. It's only the second episode. It's not like Big Brother where you watch 3 times a week and you know these people. More.
Which, like, Ryan is like 11 years younger than Geo. Geo's 36 and Ryan is 25.
Yeah, but even with one of our fan favorites here, one of our this character in Cody, he was also about like how his friend died, sort of. This is from a tumor and had an amputation. It kind of tied in with Noel's story as well, and how that kind of affected his life and changed the course of his life. And that was a big part of the episode too. So like Cody's multi-dimensional as well. And so we're really like I think it was a good episode tonight overall. I think it was a really strong like second episode for the season. Interesting take. On how to do something, showing us a different dynamic to these things,
Would you prefer that they do these features in the first couple of episodes? Like, let's say it takes 3 episodes for them to get through the entire cast.
I think
right? So we don't have to worry about it like later on. Like, oh, all of a sudden we're gonna do a feature on let's pick up a random person. On Dwight. Dwight gets a feature. Which didn't Dwight got a feature, I believe. Damn.
He did. I think in the first episode.
Yeah, he did. I'm trying to think. Owen? Did Owen get a feature yet?
What's that?
Owen. No, Owen did get a feature this episode. Damn.
Yeah, so I guess the answer to your question, I think I'm okay with it. Sure, as long as if every episode was 90 minutes, I think you could especially do it.
Yeah, but I mean, just get through everyone and then go, okay, we've introduced all the players. Yes, we missed 2 or 3. We lost 2 or 3 along the way, but we did them earlier on just to make sure that we got them. And you know all the players. let's go. Let's the time that we would take on that. Now we're just gonna worry about just strategy and gameplay and what happened. Just go.
Let's talk about the Baka tribe a little bit more, and Owen, who is he's sort of the title reference to this episode. He's the lovable curmudgeon, which is the name of this episode. The fact that he's a little bit of a grump, I guess, is what that means, but is sort of affable overall. And what did you think of Owen and sort of him like complaining by the water well, like as he was getting water for the pot?
I can definitely vibe with Owen. I'm a very independent individual, solo. Sometimes, and I'll mutter and complain to myself too when I'm doing stuff. It just helps me organize my thoughts, and sometimes it's nice to hear your voice aloud rather than just complete silence. So yeah, I can absolutely understand that type of mentality and thought process. So yeah, he seems like, look, it's very hard on these shows, especially the first couple episodes, for people to seem like a real person. Like Cody seems like a real person. He's insane in some respects, but you can understand his insanity, right? Same thing with Owen. I can understand Owen, right? If someone said, think of a real person on Survivor that you kind of have a good sense of their personality. Owen, definitely. Cody, definitely. All right.
What about Sammy?
Sammy reminds me too much of my sister's boyfriend.
Okay. All right. Go on.
Positives and negatives, I should say. I think that he has a good head on his shoulders, but I don't want to think that he's going to be like Xander, where he's
he's a bit of a different vibe than Xander. He reminds me of Sterling, our friend Sterling.
Well, what I'm worried about is missing out on social cues because he's so young, right?
Yeah,
and I think that was one of Xander's biggest issues, was his social game was so terrible that no one wanted to work with him, especially during the end. So he has he has all these tools, right? Sammy has all these tools, right? Are people going to be willing to work with him and want to reward him with the money regardless of all those tools?
This is Xander candy. This
Xander, he played for the camera. Xander played for the camera, but he wasn't able to get people to really go for him.
I mean, I'm one of those sharks that you can see my fin. I'm up at the top of the water. She's lurking down below.
That was Xander.
Yeah.
So I get, to compare him to Sammy, I think like there's kind of like just that young kid, the youngest member of the cast vibe. You're the sort of like the kid brother of the group, and he's the pet cremator, if you will, Jaemeel.
He just feels young. He just seems really young.
Yeah, he does for sure, but he's also a big guy, big and strong guy, can do a lot. Going after the challenge, and then you got old man Gabler there, who's just like, I've climbed the mountains and I've done all these things, but I'm like, well, lately.
Lately.
Okay, Jaemeel, let's talk about the challenge tonight. It was a reward challenge and an immunity challenge. With this, they had to go out, get a snake into a pit, then get that snake out of this pit in the water, drag it down, put it onto a platform, then take out keys, then get a key thing out to get some other thing that would then start a puzzle.
So wait, no, you missed it. From the snake, they get the combination codes, then do the combination lock to get the codes to once they have the codes, they can pull up the switch and then take the puzzle piece and bring it over to the puzzle, right, which is a giant puzzle, to do the big puzzle.
Right. It was this snake thing. Just okay. The act of getting this snake out of the pit was like the most like it looked like the hardest thing I've seen a team on Survivor Challenge have to do in a long time. This looks exhausting.
So I ask you this question, and I think this is going to come up a lot during the season. Could Jonathan do it by himself faster than all these teams combined?
Jonathan from last season, yes. He can
just throw it out.
Jonathan climbs up the mountain and down the thing, and if he doesn't do it fast enough or whatever, I definitely have that.
When I was young, my dad, he used to wake me up, and he would tell my brother and I to run up a mountain and race, and whoever lost had to do it 3 more times.
3 more times, and of course, so based on that, yes, he could carry this snake up the thing. Yeah. This looked grueling, and then you had to get like your whole thing over. So definitely like the Vessi tribe who goes on to lose this. They definitely struggled with this the most.
Yeah, they were exhausted.
Yeah. NECA was struggling in particular. My draft pick, NECA, kind of they were like, no, don't help carry the tail here. Help us like carry the front part. But I thought maybe what she was doing was smart here, reducing drag.
Yeah. You don't need what grip is she gonna have there? All the people at the front, what's gonna end up happening is they're gonna just like it's gonna be a couple people pulling, and the rest of people are gonna be like, I'm helping, I'm lightly brushing, I'm lightly brushing. No.
Why was Vessi, you think, in comparison? Because who set out for Vessi in the challenge? It was Noelle, right? So Noelle sets out for Vessi, and I believe that Carla sat out for Coco. So I don't really understand here why like Cody and Dwight and Jesse were struggling as much as they were compared to like Gabler and Sammy and Buddy here, Owen, and like and Janine here, and I'm trying to remember Ellie.
I love it. So speaking of Ellie got crazy eyes going on. Got some Brittany crazy eyes.
Let's see if I can find some Ellie crazy eyes. Yeah, she does go sometimes.
I'm sorry, Sam. I just call it how I see it. She has some crazy eyes, right? And you see it pop out a couple of times during this episode.
Earlier? Yeah. I think
So to answer your question, why do you think that the Vessi team struggled so much? Right? Because one, I don't think they work smart. Two, it should have been two of the individuals that did not put as much energy into the snake should have been pulling should have been doing the puzzle, right? Having and I'm gonna get his name wrong. Having Dwight do it, I think it was Dwight. Yeah, having Dwight do it with NECA, I think was a bad decision.
Yeah, very expressive, that Ellie. Yeah, just okay. So where were we, Jaemeel? Like
we're talking about the snake and the reason why Vessi, as a tribe, underperformed.
Why they underperformed in this?
Yes.
Is it NECA's fault? Was it Justine? Was voting out Justine here the smart move here for Vessi tonight? We haven't really analyzed that. Like just in terms of like winning challenges, does that matter? Still, I think it has to, right? Like you don't want to lose too many, or you're in the minority. But maybe that doesn't matter.
So, okay. I'm getting to the point where they say that for this particular challenge, was Justine the better player than NECA? Okay, sure. Let's say sure. Although we didn't NECA. Although we didn't see Justine do the puzzle, right? You can backseat the puzzle as you're resting and kind of go, oh, that piece over there. And
NECA dropped a piece and no one else noticed.
And there was an entire tribe behind them. Right?
Yeah, they all missed
it. Right?
They all missed it.
At the same time, are we going to have this challenge come up next episode?
Um,
I knew the answer to the question. The answer to the question is no. Okay. The next question is: are we going to see this particular challenge show up for the rest of the season? This same challenge?
I would think not.
So it isn't result. Let's not be result oriented in saying, "Oh, they messed. Whoever messed up on this episode challenge is the reason we need to vote them out." Right? You vote out what works best for you in the long-term situation. And the reason why, right, Justine was the best choice to get voted out is because people do not trust her. That is ultimately the reason why, right? Tribal strength is, they're going to do a swap, right? They're going to do a swap in like about 2 episodes, right? You have a 2 out of 3 chance to win, right? You're going to be fine.
It almost looks like NECA drops this bag here on purpose. It almost seems like if you really analyze it here, there's a kind of a moment here. I'm just gonna show it to you. She gets the bag. Okay. Gets the bag. And then
she was untying it and then is like, oh wait, more puzzle pieces over there.
Yes, it was almost like her brain was like, oh, something else, and then she let it go, and then but forgot she dropped it and no one noticed it.
No one noticed it.
And it's right there. It was not like she dropped it off the beaten path or behind something, really. It was just out there in the beginning.
It goes into the forest.
And Probes was losing it throughout this challenge. I some of my favorite like just Probes like getting mad kind of moments came out of this episode. Just hold on, in particular,
hit us with it.
You can't rest on Survivor ever. Dead still, becoming a theme in this challenge. They get some momentum, then they stop, talk, rest.
Yeah, he was just like, screw this Vessi tribe. You're not doing it.
That's how you do it, Coco. Keep pulling.
It's like you could rest after it's over, not tonight.
Yeah. He was like, I don't mean your camp.
You sleep when you get back home, and I don't mean your camp. I mean back home.
Back home.
Back home.
We got a challenge right now.
Yeah. He's looking for a challenge. He's like, okay, I was just wondering before. I was like, how long do you think it took the crew to set up this challenge? Like probably at least a full day, right? This seems like quite the thing to set up those out in the water and do a safety and like go through this and like before these like castaways, these contestants ever.
The beach to make sure there's nothing for someone. Like I would assume the moment and make sure people breathe. I think.
Look. Breaking up there a bit there, Jaemeel.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. There's a bit of you're a bit blurry there on my side. But I think there we go. I think you're back.
Okay. So I said, isn't it most likely that they also have to comb the beach to make sure that there's no debris that could injure someone?
Oh, I'm sure that's part of it.
Yeah. So I would figure that would be the hardest part. They would have like this separate location where they have like a lot of the structures already built and they just have to move it over. Mm-hmm. Right? They're not building it like from scratch there.
No, I imagine they have to, but depending on what the colors are from each season, they might have to redo certain things, or like this puzzle they had to make for this year, right? And put the Survivor 43 on it.
But I'm pretty sure we've seen this exact same puzzle. It might say
Well,
something
maybe
different.
they have a way of somehow reskinning it. So hey, fair enough. Not a bad logo this year, by the way. But yeah, ultimately here Vessi loses, and they lose their flint.
Were you hoping for this tribe to win or to lose?
I was. I don't know. I'm kind of like I don't know if I was. I don't want to see Cody go because I'm kind of liking Cody.
Mm-hmm. So you
Jesse
Jesse
has got this looming Gilligan's Island thing over me, so I don't know what to think of that.
At the end of the day, are you hoping that you hear "Congratulations, Cody"?
At the end of the day, I don't think so. No. He seems like a nice enough guy. I have nothing against him personally, but he must not win. You can't win this another draft, Jaemeel. Not this one.
What? I can't tie? Not with those characters.
Not yet. Justine. I don't know why I pulled her up here, but she was because she was targeting NECA when they got back here. That's kind of where in the episode we're along in. Her and Noelle are a thing.
And
or they were, I guess, not anymore.
And they played this so poorly with NECA in terms of like, I don't know, I'm just gonna wait for the guys to come and talk.
Oh yeah, it was bad. They're like, she's like, so what do you think we should do? And they're like, we don't know. And then she goes and talks to Dwight and Jesse, and she's like, they're so dumb. Like, what do you think? Like, I'm gonna do? And they're just like, oh.
Wait, they didn't tell you anything? It's like, nope. This is they're gonna talk to the guys. I'm like, so bad.
That's not good play.
No.
Right. And they're just like, okay, well, look, yeah, like we have why was I guess it was between ultimately it comes down to here between NECA and
Cody and
Justine, right?
Yeah.
So Cody gets a vote too. Cody, and only like 5 people voted. It was almost 4 in this tribe of 6, where there's a lot going on. What did you think about the whole sequence here where what's her name? Janine. She goes into Gabler's bag and finds his immunity idol. Do we even talk about that?
So we talk about trust, right? We talk about trust, and Gabler didn't really do a good job of securing that trust from last episode, right? Because he didn't go through with what he was saying. At the same time, do not show to someone who's like, you don't know, right? Anything to prove that you're untrustworthy. Why would you do that in front of Owen and all people? You want to make like the ability of, you want these situations so that no one will have to lie. Because if no one has to lie or they're not entirely sure, you can deny it and, have the ability to play off that lie. But doing it in front of Owen, talking about it, right, just seemed like a very nonsensical thing. You could probably have asked Gabe about it. It's like, hey, can I see that? I want to see it again. We should check the island to see if there's any more advantages.
Yeah,
right?
Ellie liked it. She was like, oh my God.
This Ellie makes me laugh. Because
she's a character.
She shows a lot of tongue. Everything's a facial reaction.
They're very expressive. Where's she from again? Let me just quickly look her up. Ellie's from Utah.
Uh-oh.
We know what that means.
Is she a TikTok star? We should double check that.
What did you think of the whole thing here with Gabler and the Hawaiian sling? And he couldn't use it.
If you don't know, just ask. What's the whole? I don't understand this. Like, well, I've done it before.
No, you use a spear gun.
Different. This is very different.
Yeah,
right?
Spear gun's a gun, right?
Yeah.
And Hawaiian sling is like a sling.
Yes.
Right. So
you
he
want
to like create his own version here, where he was trying to like wrap it around. Like, well, this makes no sense. You're not like thinking about the physics. I thought you were like smart. Are you a heart specialist, a heart valve specialist? That's a doctor, right?
Well, yes. But it looked like, I'm like, is this man going to end up stabbing himself somehow? It's going to rebound.
Is this like the dumbest doctor we've ever come across? Like, he just doesn't understand physics?
See, Dr. Mike understood physics. Sex Dr. Mike.
Well, I thought that they have to, like, know a little bit about science, at least a little bit, And anyway, Ellie was not impressed as well.
Were you impressed?
No.
Exactly. So even more importantly, you were not impressed.
I was not impressed. It doesn't seem like it seems like something you would, if I was going on Survivor, it's definitely something I would want to like research and know as much about, if not practice outright before I went out there. Right?
Yeah.
So we had she went to his bag. She still can't get over everything with her chin that's going on.
Well, that's kind of the ailments I was mentioning too.
Yeah, but she pulls out his idol. But
like, you tell me she is stronger than Mariah? Go back to that. Go back to that photo that you had.
You thought that they should have kept Mariah and voted her out?
I'm just saying, with people talking about strength, tribal strength, she's stronger than Mariah.
I think it's a toss-up.
Seriously, she is most likely sub 100. Mariah looked like she was 120, 130. It looked like she had a good 20-30 pounds on her.
Yeah, but I guess, is that the advantage or is that a disadvantage?
But why are we lying though and saying it's tribal strength when that's not really what we mean?
It's also about who you can feel like you can work with moving forward. It has to be part of the factor too. And perhaps Mariah they didn't get a good vibe strategically,
which would have been fair. Justine's whole approach was, in terms of like, she's like, these are who I'm with. This person's not about who I'm with, so I need to be wary. She's on the chopping block, right?
This whole trio dynamic here, which includes like Jesse and Cody and NECA, that seems to be forming here on the Vesey tribe. I feel like that's maybe going to be part of the story this season, with Dwight perhaps as another member of this. Although after this betrayal here, where Jesse didn't tell Dwight what he was doing, that he was voting out Justine tonight. That might change, but like I feel like that's part of it. That's sort of a trio that we'll see if it lasts into a merge or if there's a tribe swap or anything like that. But
at the same time, the dude stupidly lost his vote. Like, you're
right.
You're part of
his mates helped him back up, and they helped him get all of the clues, Jaemeel. Right?
True. That is true.
That
is certainly true.
Would you have opened it if you had found it right before tribal, or would you have kept it closed?
I would have kept it closed until like after tribal. Who's gonna find it in the time? You know exactly where it is, and if it's gone, you know what the rule is, so you can, like, the person who asks for it, you immediately know has the idol. You haven't opened it, so you don't know the stipulation of it, obviously. I'm just saying, if it's gone, then you know it was at least taken.
Right. Let's quickly just like run through the I took a whole bunch of screenshots here when you got the challenge here. There were so many like distinctive beads that came up here. So just quickly. So there was this. And then like everyone, Noelle had this like polka dotted bead thing, right? Just and then because here's a close up with Noelle's, Justine's is like a purple thing, NECA's is like some kind of gem.
Yeah.
Dwight has got some kind of purple bead thing, and Cody. Oh, it's Cody has his own, so he has to donate his own, and then Jesse's.
Yeah.
Okay, but really Noelle's is the most distinctive. The rest of them are just kind of the same thing, from what I can tell. There's Justine
It's like
close up.
Power Rangers. This seems like the opening title sequence is like
It does. It's like Power Rangers. This is the Vessi tribe. Yeah.
Someone's gonna like green screen that and use that like as theme as a theme intro.
This should be a themed intro. Like, and Dwight with his voice,
Oh, it's kind of goofy. I love this. I like this better than
what they've done before.
Like the whole stupid, you have to say the stupid phrase thing.
Yeah, this is better than the phrase for sure.
Much better.
Right. And he was allowed to tell them, but he didn't have to tell them why he was doing it. I like that there was a choice. I like that his alliance members were allowed to help him here.
Yeah.
In it. It worked out well. You must get the beads of every player at the tribal.
Yep.
And even if one bead is missing from the bracelet, no good. Doesn't work.
Great.
So that's a good twist.
I like it.
And you lose your vote, right? So his tribe mates help pick him up here, which I respect. And I think that part worked out pretty well in the episode.
But isn't that good? It kind of pushes them to do certain things, right?
Yeah. Well, okay, so like the whole him having to get the beads and everything else, like, did this go on too long for you?
No. So, okay, full disclosure. What happened is I watched with my DVR, and my DVR went from here straight to Tribal Council. And then I had to rewind and then, catch up on it.
Okay. There's like the him telling them about the beads and them having to solve the beads is about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes of the show. It's not insignificant. So it comes down, but then it's like kind of this whole story here where we get Cody with his like hat, which he had set up in the beginning of the episode, now decorated with all these beads, which also and there's also this whole reveal. We don't even know if he got Noel's beads because they give us this edit here that puts it in doubt. We find out later Noel gave him the beads, no problem. She didn't care. Like, because he was like, nobody's gonna. These are super fans. They are never giving up their beads. And then Dwight's like, oh, my beads? Whatever. I don't care about the beads. It was.
It's great.
It was pretty funny.
Did you like that they did a flashback during Tribal Council?
It was fine for this. Like, it kind of, I think that there was the right amount of suspense, and I think that it worked out. Because we're like, is Noelle really not going to give her the beads? She was just like, after we asked this many times, like, I think like you have to be pretty like stubborn, right?
The beads.
Yeah. Would you give up the beads if someone asked you for your beads off your pack?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Even if like there was pressure from the other tribe mates.
I would see how far they would go before I gave it up, just to have a better understanding of what is the power dynamic. What are they willing to trade for this bead?
If they press you hard enough without offering anything, would you still not be suspicious that they're like just trying to? They have an ulterior motive. This is about more than just you not giving up the beads.
So I'll give it to you at the end of the season.
No, I need it now. I need it in the next 5 minutes, Jaemeel.
Well, too bad, too sad.
Yeah. Well, too bad, too sad. Because I thought we saw Noelle like wearing the bracelet, keeping her bead on the bracelet throughout the tribal, but it turns out no, that was the other one she kept.
Correct.
And our friend Cody here was able to vote in this ultimate tribal. Did you like this tribal council tonight?
It was okay. It was interesting. I liked it. Wanted more from the questioning, but it did its job.
But it was a little long too, because like I feel like even though we got some good things here in this episode, I think the most interesting thing about this tribal was that potentially there was only going to be 4 votes, but then they revealed, there was actually 5 all along. So the thing you thought was interesting actually wasn't that interesting.
I felt like it went a little long in terms of like staying on the same questions. I would have loved to see what other questions they had for these individuals. I felt like we didn't get the right ones, I should say.
Yeah. It was very ambiguous because they wanted this mystery, so I felt like they couldn't really get into a lot of into too much. And once we see here the flashback of Jesse and NECA helping Cody get the beads, and then the final vote out here being Justine. So, reactions to losing Justine. Why did she lose this game, Jaemeel?
She didn't have Jesse on her side. I think that if she mended that relationship and wasn't so squirrely, I think NECA definitely would have been gone, and they would have had a stronger relationship.
Was she too coy with Jesse when she was, because Jesse earlier in the episode was like, she's from like 2 towns away from where I'm from. But she seems like a different kind of person. There was kind of a little bit of setup in the episode with that in the earlier parts. And then ultimately when she was like, are you playing both sides? I think she had sort of like this aggressive playfulness to herself that I don't think it jived in the pineapple zone, quite frankly. And that's not how Jesse rolls with the PhD at Yale or Harvard, or was it both? So he's not going for it. And ultimately he was like, Justine's got to go. Dwight not down with this, but Dwight's like got no vote. So Jesse really, I don't know. Was this a mistake to cut Dwight out or to not let him know, give him a heads up here? Or was this sort of like fair game with Dwight not even having any agency at the moment?
I think you can ask for forgiveness. I don't think it's ultimately bad. Same thing, like, was it really a blindside? Right?
Dwight looked pissed.
For Dwight, yes. But for everyone else, I think the writing was kind of on the wall. Right? Noelle was a little bit surprised. I don't know why she was.
Noelle was surprised?
Yeah, at the when she's like, wow. Mouth agape, as they say. Mouth agape.
She was like, oh.
Okay. So, yeah. So you got to build, like, so what, are you worried about Dwight and Noelle teaming up?
Am I worried about Dwight and Noelle teaming up? I guess. I don't know if that's an alliance I necessarily want to see happen, but I don't know if no, I'm not worried. Actually, I'm fine with it if that happens. That's fine. Ultimately, Cody stayed tonight, who ultimately was kind of what I wanted to happen. I thought he was definitely the better. Like, he's the more interesting character. I think Justine is sort of like, you're not necessarily fun to watch on TV.
We've seen that archetype too many times.
Yeah, we've seen that archetype. I get why Jesse doesn't want to work with her, and this wasn't easy. They just cut her, and they tried their best to edit this in a way that gave us some level of suspense. And I think that they did a half decent job overall.
Yeah.
So good on them. Was there anything in the preview for next week that you thought was particularly interesting?
No, I've been fooled too many times, so I leave my expectations extremely low for the next episode, and don't really take the previews to heart.
Because there's in the preview for next week, Dwight says something like, or Jesse says something like, "I'll sign the divorce papers." Yeah. So Dwight goes up here to Noelle and says, "I really trusted Jesse." So I think what we're talking about, like Dwight and Noelle getting to, like, as a becoming like an alliance of sorts, could definitely happen here. He feels betrayed by this.
They don't have if the tribe is definitely divided, they do not have enough people on their side.
Right. Like, they're only a tribe of 5 people now.
Yep.
So, but we see this a lot where, like, after a bad tribal and even a small tribe, you'll see like the fireworks fly. And I guess that's why they keep doing it, because it makes it more interesting, because this would happen a lot more. We see here also that Sammy reveals to Gabler that they looked in your bag, bro.
Yep.
Bro.
Yep. They looked in your bag. And once again, the trust is broken. Trust is broken. He's looking better. He doesn't look sick. So the question is so, because as long as you could outlast those individuals if you build those relationships, and the guy's not doing a good enough job of kind of building a relationship. See, crazy eyes.
Well, I was getting it for you. I was like, it flashed by really quickly, and I was like, I have to stop there.
All right. So we'll see. And I don't know how much Owen is going to appreciate the patronizing that's occurring.
The Boys Alliance, yeah.
What Boys Alliance? They're just hanging out.
Okay, do you want to talk about who voted for who here? So Jesse voted for Justine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We see here that Justine votes for Cody.
Which is weird.
Noelle votes for NECA.
Mm-hmm. So they were trying to split the votes.
And NECA votes for Justine, and Cody also votes for Justine. So that's how that plays out here. Which with, I guess Cody being the surprise part of this, but otherwise not super I thought that with 90 minutes there was a chance we might even see 2 vote outs here, but no.
Nope.
I feel like it was
some extra Cody scenes and some more strategy, but other than that, meh.
Let's quickly just look at our draft update here with Justine going out. Jane loses her. Justine was drafted 14th overall, as we see here, and the Coco tribe still intact at their original 6, but the other 2, Vessi and Baka, both down a member. And Jaemeel, your team, Jesse and Janine, you feeling good?
Maybe.
Mariah's gone.
Maybe.
Right off the bat, Mariah was gone.
All I need is Jesse to survive.
You only need one good draftee to go the distance.
I just in retrospect, I don't mind my team in terms of I think you have a wide variety of skills and they're not all the same. Hopefully I'm lucky.
Hopefully so. Okay, well, that's just the quick little update there on that. Anything else from this episode you wanted to cover?
No, we don't need 90 minutes unless there's something that's truly special to warrant that. It
I don't think there was in this case.
Yeah,
I feel like it was just more features on the cast, more about their backstories, right?
Yeah.
So if you like that, then I think it's a good episode. I think if you don't like that, then maybe it was a little bit long.
Have your fast forward buttons ready if you're on a DVR.
Yeah. If you're coming up for that. Okay, well, we're going to get out of here tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight on our Survivor 43 recap. We'll be back next Wednesday. Jeff Mader's still away in Aruba, far from the hurricanes and everything else, along with his new bride and baby. But he'll be back eventually, probably for episode 4. So, but Jaemeel and I will be here for episode 3 last week. Did you know that we covered Big Brother 24? Jaemeel knows, but if your listeners out there, you should know that we did just cover that season. If you want to hear our take on the different podcasts, you should. We got quite a amount of hits on our finale coverage, Jaemeel, and it's continuing to growing. It's almost as big as the Kylan podcast.
Kylan.
When Kylan was evicted, that's one of our top videos all time. That continues to get hits. Probably because of the Kobe references.
Kobe.
Anyway, so you should check those things out here on Super Mario Brothers Podcasting. Plus, you should check out the grander scheme. We have a network of podcasts we call the United Federation of Podcasts. Top secret. Don't tell anyone. It's
dude.
We got a whole network of shows, including a show called the Graphic Histories Podcast with Andre, where they talk about comic books and interview famous artists like David Cutler and get into all kinds of very interesting comic book stuff. There's Trivial Debates, a monthly show. We argue about movies, TV, sports, as a host. There's 3 contestants. We'll be having one coming up October 30th. It's gonna be great. I have to get that onto paper. If we're doing the Halloween theme or the music theme, but it'll coming up. That's our Trivial Debate show.
Yep.
And then we have our Live Long and Podcast channel, our Star Trek theme channel, where we're talking about Star Trek all the time, including Monday night's Star Trek Enterprise rewatch, where we go through episode by episode and talk about it, rate it. We do the same thing kind of on Tuesday nights with Star Trek Deep Space Nine, now up to season 6 of that show. We're on hiatus just while Jeff's away, but we'll be back very soon with that podcast. Plus, whatever is the newest Star Trek show coming out, which includes Star Trek Lower Decks. And that's we'll be talking about that Thursday. I'll be talking about that with Davan Skelhorn and Chris Murphy. Speaking of Davan Skelhorn, he is one of the locutors of Trek, if you didn't know, on the Live Long and Podcast channel. And him and Dave Pugsley doing all kinds of interesting things all the time, including they have a Debate 9 coming up with Jody Simpson, I think, and Adam Woodward. Jaemeel, I don't know if you saw that on the slate, but it's coming up on the schedule.
Exciting stuff.
Stuffing off on the Live Long and Podcast channel, plus Star Trek Radio Theater, and all kinds of great content. And there's the Hellbound podcast. Not an official member of the Federation yet, but we're looking to extend an invitation perhaps in the near future to the Hellbound podcast with Alex
Blackburn and Michael Chan.
It's late, guys. It's
Yes.
late. It's 11 o'clock. Bear with me. Plus, let's talk about fighting games with Eamon Mader, also known as Sam Jerka, along with Super Smash Bros. Seth.
Yes, and Paranoia.
And don't forget about the Paranoia.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it.
I'm excited the fact that we are like 2 episodes into Survivor. I think this could be interesting season, interesting cast. They just need better episodes than this one. It doesn't need to be that long. But hey, we're 2 in, and we've got to savor this moment for a while. So yay Survivor, yay doing this podcast. I hope everyone joins us for this journey.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week for I'll sign the divorce papers, which is what Jesse said in the preview. We'll see you next time. All right, let's go out with a quote. What do you think, Probst?
Sometimes it comes down to seconds, which is why you're digging all the time.